Who would win in a battle between a business strategy, a product strategy, and a brand strategy? Any thoughts on that one? I think we've probably seen examples where some of those can win out over others in certain situations.
Nah, it's not a battle at all.
It should be aligned, though.
Yeah. I don't see a battle here, honestly. I mean, in the best case, you have a business strategy that is followed by a good product strategy, which is followed by a good brand strategy. And if your product sucks, you might be able to have a good brand, and then it might be able to be successful for a while, but after all, it's going to backfire. And if the business strategy as a basis doesn't work, then you're going to lose money eventually. So yeah. I don't really think it's it might be a battle short term. It might be a battle from people working on it. But ultimately, if they're not aligned, it's not going to work out.
Yeah. Just to give you an example, so business strategy, for example, is something called low-cost strategy. It means a company is trying to do its best to offer products in that category at the lowest, or let's say most affordable prices. Think about IKEA. So when you think about IKEA's brand strategy, does it strike you as premium or affordable and approachable? It's definitely approachable, right? So now imagine you would go into IKEA and it would look premium, like black, tiles, like dimmed lights, a bespoke service, and then you see that price, like on a tag that's just hanging from a couch. It's just like there's a disconnect there. And ultimately it wouldn't work because the investment necessary in sustaining that brand wouldn't work with the prices. So I think ultimately, maybe the question is more like, who's going to win, a business person or a designer? Well, in the end, it could depend who has a better argument, but usually who wins, it's the one who pays the bills.
I think it's a really good point. I think when I was initially saw this question, I was thinking, can you win with one of these being good and the others maybe being deprioritized? And I think the ultimate winner, the long-term one, to your point, Franz, which I think is the really key point, is for longevity, all three need to be aligned. But I think we've all seen products, and this is the one that springs to mind for me, where the business strategy might be flawed, but the brand execution's really good. And so, short-term sales and hype might be good, but it doesn't have substance long-term.
Yeah.
I think if you want to have short-term wins, then brand strategy wins. You can completely disregard your business strategy. You can disregard your product strategy. If you have the great brand, then short-term brand strategy wins because it's maybe even better sold if you only had like a great product strategy, but long-term, we all know what's going to happen. If you have, I'm just thinking of the juicers, the Silicon Valley juicer that had, these
you just squeeze them out,
things.
Right? You didn't need the machine.
Exactly. So this razor blade strategy, business model where you had to buy this juicer and then you bought these bags, and it was huge investment. It was app enforced and so on, and then in the end it turned out that you could just squeeze the bags and everything else was completely worthless. So brand actually won short term, but after all everything collapsed.
Great example.
And it won really good short term because they had like, I don't know who even, I'm not gonna name drop, but it was like celebrities and high level like VCs, high level investors in this startup, and then they completely went sideways.
Hundreds of millions, right? Investments.
Yeah, great example.
That would be an example of a brand strategy winning short term and then it hitting the fan.
Let me see lots of businesses that have been around forever that have great business strategy and clearly resonates, but maybe don't need to invest in brands quite so much because they might be the only player in the market. So it's interesting. I think it's an interesting provocation and when you're looking at other businesses, thinking, which levers are they pulling more than others? But I love the juicer one. Cool.
Well, that's an interesting thought. I often come across companies where I feel like, how is it possible that they're still making money? Because they're along so that like they have been along around so long, and nothing has changed, and you're like, how is this possible? I always get this feeling when I buy one of these candy bars, like Snickers. Like, how long has Snickers been around? Like, how is this possible? And it still works. I haven't seen any advertising for this in years. And it's still like, it works.
It's one thing I'm starting to realize more and more is I think we as designers, we love to over-index on the product strategy and we forget about the distribution strategy. And like, you can build a great product, but if it doesn't have good distribution, it's just not gonna fly. And Snickers, it's an example of a product with an amazing, top-notch, world-class distribution. And even if the product kind of sucks and it's not great,
it's awesome.
It's just gonna, yeah, I mean, taste-wise, right? But the thing is, like, if you have a strong distribution, you can survive many, mistakes elsewhere.
Yeah.
Cool. Really interesting answer.